Hello and welcome to the Discover History YouTube channel. Now, if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you may remember on the 19th of May, Paul did a walkthrough of his SMLE, his short magazine Lee Enfield rifle. One of the family of rifles that served the British Army throughout the 20th century, over 2 world wars, and had a service life of just over 50 years. Now today, I want to talk about a firearm that had an even longer service life, over 116 years. Now, with it being the anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo, it seems particularly appropriate to talk about this, what I consider to be the most famous firearm in British military history, the land pattern musket, universally and affectionately known as the Brown Bess. Now, before I go on to describe the musket itself, I could probably talk for the whole length of this video about the reasons why it's got this nickname Brown Bess. Theories are many, and they vary from the fact that the stock here is brown, the fact that the barrel was often, certainly after 1808, painted with sort of like a brown varnish to dull it down and also protect it from the weather. The word Bess could be an English derivation of the German word Bus, meaning gun, as in blunderbuss, arquebus. But I've also seen theories that say that the whole Brown Bess means common woman. Now, anything, when this gun was in service in the 18th and 19th centuries, anything common was classed as brown. It was called brown. It's very common, it's brown. And Elizabeth was a very common name at the time, and that was always shortened to Bess. And it's, like I say, very common working class name. So Brown Bess could just basically mean just a common woman. Soldier's common woman. So, what are the features of this musket? It is a muzzle loading, smooth bore, flintlock musket. One of the first standardised muskets, probably the best of its era. So what have you got? You've got your barrel, smooth bore barrel, just basically a tube, basically a pipe, sat on its wooden stock, made from walnut usually. As it's a muzzle loader, you've got a ramrod there to ram your ammunition down the barrel. As you come down the gun, you've got 2 sling loops and your sling. Then you get to the lock itself, trigger guard and a trigger, and then the butt on the end. And also, each soldier, as well as his Brown Bess, was issued with a bayonet, a socket bayonet that fitted onto the end of the barrel. Now, you may remember the length of the sword bayonet that was on Paul's Lee Enfield rifle. Now, this bayonet looks even worse. It's a 17-inch triangular bayonet, quite a lethal weapon, and that fitted over the end of the barrel. Each soldier was carried one of those. Now, to operate the Brown Bess, you need ammunition, obviously, and each soldier was issued a leather cartridge case which held 36 pre-made paper cartridges in the top there, and also underneath there's a little pocket under there, as this is a flintlock, to carry your spare flints, which I'll show you in a minute when we go through the operations. So, ammunition, we've got the musket. How do we operate it? Okay, right. At the command, the soldier would get his lock and pull it 1 click to half cock. That's like a safety setting. It won't actually fire. If I pull that trigger, nothing's going to happen at the moment. So it's on half cock. Now he'd reach into his cartridge box and pull out one of those pre-prepared cartridges. We've made sort of one up here, look, which you can see. You've got a musket ball, which is one of the musket balls that go in these cartridges. Quite a big substantial lump of lead. some string. The red line is some string which basically holds that musket ball up at that end of the cartridge, and then the rest of it is filled with black powder, gunpowder. So on the command, the gun's at half cock, the soldier bites off the top of the cartridge where the gunpowder is, pours it. I'm not doing this the right way because I'm holding it, because I'm sat down and I'm holding it different. There are prescribed drills for this, but I'm just going to give you an example of how it's done. So I bite off the top of the cartridge, a little bit of powder in the pan there. Now from that pan there is also a little touch hole that goes in the back of the barrel. So you put some gunpowder in the pan, and then he closes that sprung hammer, steel or frizzen, various names basically. It covers over the pan, stops that gunpowder falling out. Then putting his barrel down, putting his butt down on the ground, goes back to the other end of his gun, his musket, and he pours the rest of that gunpowder down the barrel, followed by the ball and the paper. Takes his ramrod out, rams it down right down to the bottom of the barrel, a couple of sharp jams down to get it really jammed down the bottom of the barrel. Then, to fire it, onto his shoulder, he pulls it back to full cock on its second notch. Now it's ready to fire. And then points it in the general direction of the enemy and pulls the trigger, and bang! He'll get a big flash, and a big flash of flame and a lot of smoke from this end, and a massive one out the top end where the musket ball comes flying out of the barrel, as is black powder, so it produces a lot of smoke. And that is his gun fired. And then he has to go through the whole procedure again to reload. Now I'm just going to pop that back to half cock. So what made it fire? You saw the sparks come out of it. Well, basically the hammer, the steel, the frizzen there, when that's down, when you pull the trigger, of course the cock goes flying forwards, and because it's got this piece of flint in the cock itself, that strikes the frizzen and causes the sparks, which when it pushes the frizzen out of the way, sparks get onto that powder on the pan, flash through into the barrel, and ignites the rest of the gunpowder, and off it goes. And that musket ball is now winging its way to your enemy. Now, the Brown Bess is not an accurate weapon. It wasn't designed to be an accurate weapon. Basically, because it's just a tube, it's just a pipe with this musket ball loose inside it. When you fire it off, that musket ball is not like a bullet. It's not spinning like a bullet. It's not shaped like a bullet, so it's not going to be going on a straight trajectory. It's basically going to go in a general straight line. Now, the Brown Bess, say it was inaccurate. It was accurate to about 50 to 75 yards. You could almost guarantee hitting someone at 50 to 75 yards. Over that, no. I've read accounts where say if you were trying to hit someone with a Brown Bess at 200 yards, you might as well shoot to the moon for all the good you're going to do. And even though it had a sort of like a maximum range at maximum elevation of 300 yards, the chance of hitting anybody or killing anybody at that sort of range are negligible. But why would armies equip themselves for over 116 years with a weapon that is so wildly inaccurate? When we all think of rifles today and you're shooting individuals with them, these muskets weren't designed for really killing individuals one-on-one. The tactics of the time were linear tactics. Men fought shoulder to shoulder in long lines, 2 to 3 ranks deep. And they didn't fire their guns off individually, they fired in volleys. Maybe a company volley or a half battalion volley. Because you were being faced by an enemy which was advancing to you either in a long column or in another line. So you've got a big target to aim at. So you didn't really need to aim this musket. You basically shot it in the general direction of your enemy. Very difficult to aim, to be honest, because it has no sights on it. And at the time, soldiers were wearing what they call a leather stock. which is like a big thick collar, so they couldn't really move their head like this. Their head was upright, so if you imagine they're trying to shoot there, they can't go like that and sight down the barrel. Their head is almost straight up, so they point the whole gun at the general direction of the enemy and pull the trigger, but they're all doing it at once. You know, you might have between 25 and 250 men all shooting their muskets off at any one time, straight all at once, and then the next part of the battalion would do it. So it didn't need to be accurate. They did have accurate guns. That's the Baker rifle. That's another story. So yeah, it was an inaccurate weapon, but it was well suited to the tactics of the time. And the Brown Bess can safely be said to be the best weapon of its age. No doubt about it. Well designed, easy to look after, and although yeah, wildly inaccurate, but perfect for the time that it was in service. I say it went into service until about 1838. It did in many ways carry on after 1838 because it was superseded by a different type of lock here. It was superseded by what we call a percussion lock, but that's probably something else we can do a video on at another time. We have got one of those in the Discover History inventory. So that's it. That's my run through of a Brown Bess. If you've got any comments, any things you want to discuss, stick them in the comment section below. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, and you like our other videos, like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get updates on any new videos coming up. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.